Well, hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Tinubu directs rollout of free healthcare for low-income retirees. And federal government unveils revised national employment policy. Also, Credit Corps, NYSC signed 9 billion naira empowerment deal, and federal government gets $25.35 million Kuwait loan. Also, JAM sets conditions for screening under 16 UTME candidates, and ECOWAS pushes for police collaboration among member states. Appeal Court restores EFCC's forfeiture order on Yahya Bello's properties. On the foreign scene, survivors warn of nuclear warfare 80 years after Hiroshima bombing. While in business news, foreign capital inflows hit 5-year high in 2024. And in sports news, Super Eagles goalkeeper banned from September World Cup qualifiers games. And in the world of entertainment, Burna Boy Asake bag multiple nominations as Lady Gaga leads. Now in the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has directed the expedited rollout of free healthcare access initiative for low-income retirees under the contributory pension scheme. This was disclosed in a press statement on Wednesday, signed by the special advisor to the president, Bayo Onanuga. Onanuga said the president gave the directives after receiving a briefing from the Director General of the National Pension Commission, Omolara Oluwolaran. Tinubu, who described the initiative as a critical component of social protection and dignity in retirement, also called for the prompt implementation of long overdue pension increases and a minimum pension guarantee, which would provide a safety net for the most vulnerable pensioners under the CPS. Now, the federal government has launched the revised National Employment Policy 2005 to lift Nigerians out of poverty. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Maigari Dingyadi, who launched the policy, explained that the revised policy offers what he described as bold, inclusive and future-fit solutions to the nation's employment challenges. He noted that the policy would provide a labour market that delivers inclusive growth, equity, productivity and sustainability for every Nigerian. The minister said that the review was necessitated by Nigeria's employment landscape, which has been challenged by high youth unemployment, underemployment, informality, gender disparities, and regional inequalities. Well, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, Adetokunbo Abiru, on Wednesday commended President Bola Tinubu for assenting to the Nigerian National Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2025, now signed into law as the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025. In a statement issued in Abuja, Abiru described the development as a pivotal milestone in the collective efforts to reposition Nigeria's financial services sector for inclusive growth and global competitiveness. Abiru, who was the lead sponsor of the bill with the entire Senate committee as co-sponsors, said the NIRA represents one of the most comprehensive and far-reaching reforms in the history of Nigeria's insurance industry. According to him, the Act repeals and consolidates outdated statutes, replacing them with a unified legal framework designed to foster innovation, strengthen regulatory oversight, and protect policyholders across the country. And now the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Credit Corps, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Youth Service Corps that would lead to the empowerment of 7 corps members with credit facilities of up to 200,000 naira per individual. According to the MOU, eligible corps members would access up to 200,000 naira single-digit interest loan under the Youth Cred initiative. Speaking at the signing of the MOU in Abuja on Wednesday, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Credit Corps, Uzoma Nwagba, said 9 billion naira, has been earmarked for the first phase of the program. Wangba said the program was in fulfillment of President Bola Tinubu's Democracy Day address on June 12, during which he promised that a credit initiative targeting 400,000 Nigerians, including Youth Corps members, would commence. It said that the first phase of Youth Cred focuses on NYSC members who will be required to complete a short digital credit education program before becoming eligible for the credit facility, adding the loans are intended to support a range of needs, including relocation, purchase of work tools or devices, skills training, and funding for small businesses. Well, in another development, the federal government has secured a $25.35 million concessionary loan from the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development to support a major initiative aimed at reducing the number of out-of-school children in Kaduna State. The facility, signed on behalf of the Kaduna State government, forms part of a broader $62.8 million blended financing package with international development partners designed to expand access to quality and inclusive education in one of the country's most affected regions. In a statement issued on Tuesday by the Director of Information and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mohammed Manga, the loan is expected to finance the Reaching Out-of-School Children program, a large-scale intervention targeting vulnerable populations, including girls, children with disabilities, and internally displaced persons. Education now. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has listed conditions for screening of exceptional Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination candidates who are still under the age of 16 years for 2025 to 2026 admissions. The board said that to qualify for consideration, under 16 candidates must have a minimum UTME score of 320 out of 400, translating to 80% of the UTME score, a post-UTME score of at least 80%, and a minimum of 80% in a single sitting of the West Africa Examination Council or National Examinations Council, amounting to 24 points out of 30. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishak Oloyede rolled out the measures during a virtual meeting with vice-chancellors and heads of admissions on Wednesday in Abuja. Oloyede said the board will no longer tolerate what he referred to as the academic abuse of pushing psychologically and emotionally unprepared children into the rigors of university life. The conditions followed the decision of the federal government to peg the official minimum age for admission into tertiary institutions at 16 years, with exceptions for high-performing candidates under 16. Now, as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the West African security architecture and respond more effectively to escalating threats in the region, the Economic Community of West African States Commission has called for enhanced coordination among police forces across its member states. This was the thrust of the ECOWAS Police Focal Point Officers meeting held in Abuja on Wednesday, as senior officials and representatives from across the 15 member states gathered to discuss progress, challenges, and strategies in preparing regional police forces for peace support operations under the ECOWAS Standby Force. Delivering remarks on behalf of the ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Ambassador Abdul Musa, the acting head of Peace Support Operations, Sani Adamu, emphasized the critical objectives of the meeting. Adamu noted that the gathering was part of a broader initiative to prepare ECOWAS's multi-dimensional standby force, comprising police, military, and civilian components to respond swiftly to crisis. He stressed that the security situation in West Africa requires what he referred to as a dynamic and collaborative approach. He therefore urged member states to contribute actively to refining a robust and adaptive regional policing strategy. Well, in another development, the Delta State Police Command says it recovered 8.5 million naira in kidnap, ransom, 18 firearms, and over 350 rounds of ammunition, and arrested 211 suspects in connection to some of these crimes in July. The Commissioner of Police, Abayewanda Olufemi, attributed this to the command's proactive and intelligence-driven strategies, which he said were yielding impressive results towards making Delta State increasingly hostile to criminals. He disclosed that a joint operation with the Nigerian Army led to the rescue of 2 kidnapped female polytechnic students in Ugwashuku Forest, during which 2 suspected kidnappers died and 1 AK-47 rifle and 3.5 million ransom payment recovered. He added that the suspected internet fraud hub in Iforun was also raided and 184 suspects arrested, while 273 laptops, 97 smartphones, an iPad and 2 Wi-Fi routers were recovered. Among others, a young woman identified as Merit Ene was also arrested for faking her own kidnap in order to extract a 3 million naira ransom from her brother, Olufemi stated. Well, let's take you to Kano State now, where a commissioner of transport in the state, Ibrahim Ali Namadi, has resigned his position following an investigative report on the bail of a drug suspect from police custody that indicted him. The police had accused the ex-commissioner of bailing a notorious drug dealer, Suleiman Aminu Danwawu, who was to be charged in court. Governor Abba Yusuf, upon hearing the allegation, had set up a committee headed by his advisor on Justice and Constitutional Matters, Aminu Hussaini, to investigate the controversial bail. Namadi's resignation came just hours after Governor Yusuf received the report of the findings by the probe panel. He, however, insisted he was innocent. He said he stepped down in the overriding public interest due to the sensitive nature of the issue. Moving on, the Court of Appeal, a Lagos Division, has reinstated the interim forfeiture order obtained by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over 14 properties allegedly linked to Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello. In a unanimous decision delivered virtually on Wednesday, the appellate court set aside an earlier ruling by the Federal High Court, which had struck out the EFCC's case based on the constitutional immunity granted to a sitting governor. Justice Yagata Nimpa, delivering the lead judgment with Justices Dan Lami Senchi and Paul Bassi concurring, ruled that the trial court erred by invoking Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution to halt the proceedings. You're still watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
Welcome back, everyone. And now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has extended heartfelt condolences to the President of Ghana, John Mahama, and the people of Ghana following a tragic helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 2 senior cabinet ministers and 6 others. The accident resulted in the deaths of Ghana's Defense Minister Edward Omane Boma and Environment Minister Ibrahim Muritala Mohammed, among others. The victims were reportedly on official duty when the fatal incident occurred. In another development, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has expressed deep sorrow over the passing of Dr. Doyin Abiola, the widow of the late winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola. In a condolence message issued in Lagos on Wednesday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Akoshile, Governor Sanwo-Olu described Dr. Abiola as an Amazon in the media industry whose impact on journalism in Nigeria was both pioneering and profound. Dr. Abiola, who died on Tuesday at the age of 82, was hailed by the governor as a trailblazer and role model who mentored generations of journalists and significantly shaped the country's media landscape. Elsewhere, the Inoka, the capital of Anambra State, witnessed an emotional gathering as youths and concerned Nigerians turned out in large numbers for a candlelight procession in honor of a young entrepreneur known as Fish Magnet. He was reportedly kidnapped by gunmen and later killed. The event was organized by controversial social crusader Vincent, also popularly known as Very Dark Man or VDM. VP correspondent Undo Okpalese has more on the procession.
The victim of the latest assault by gun-wielding criminals is a well-known young entrepreneur, Mr. Martin Onyekesi, who has just grown his fish production and marketing business, Fish Magnet, at both physical and online market spaces. Fish Magnet, an only son of his widowed mother, was said to have been abducted from his residence by his assailants, who later killed him after collecting a 10 million naira ransom from the family. The gruesome killing became one too many for members of the public, especially people of his generation who felt they are not being well protected security-wise. So as at 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, people have trooped out to Aroma Junction, Oka, the takeoff point. Those participating adorned black attires and numbered a few thousands. The convener, Very Dark Man, also addressed the gathering before takeoff.
This war, the reason for it is simple. First of all, it's a truth to Fish Magnet. And also, give a mic. Give a mic. Give a mic. Give a mic. Most of them are alive for here. We don't like don't get cities there. Some of us are here. Don't think you are too precious. What you happen to Fish Magnet? Some people say, don't happen to me in a lie. In a lie. Countless killings in my life. I have countless killings in my life. It's just quite unfortunate. It's just quite unfortunate. That a young man like that will be kidnapped and taken away, and he will never come back again. First of all, the economy does not favor the youth. Everybody they cry. But this boy, not Fish Magnet, he will cry. He started something. The hustle. The least thing the government should do for him is to provide him with security.
The procession moved from Aroma Junction, Oka, down to the business premises of Fish Magnet at Ring Road, Agua-Oka. The Anambra State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Kengato Chukwu, and a senior special assistant to the governor, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, on media and publicity, Dr. Ejimofo Opara, were among those that joined in the candlelight procession.
What we are seeing today is not only against Fish Magnet, but this is a collective will of Anambra, all the youth of Anambra, standing with the security agencies to make sure that the killings in Anambra is reduced to drastic level. And they are ready to work with the security agencies to provide information on issues that concern security. To honor the timely death of our brother, our friend, our son, whose life was cut short by carry out a candlelight procession and also, raise awareness on the negativity and the downsides of insecurity of whatever kind across the country.
Some other participants bared their minds on the spate of killings in society.
Urge the government to know what to do to the security agency of the state.
Let the government come in and find justice for this guy.
Ndo Okpalese, Voice of the People Television.
And now the Lagos State government has raised the alarm over widespread contamination of borehole water in the Lekki area, warning that many residents may be unknowingly consuming feces-laden water. At a stakeholders meeting, Mahmood Adegbite, Permanent Secretary of the Office of Drainage Services and Water Resources, attributed the contamination to years of unregulated borehole drilling, shallow well depths, and poor wastewater management across the fast-developing corridor. Adegbite cautioned that the groundwater in Lekki has been severely compromised due to its proximity to septic tanks, inadequate drainage systems, and a high water table, making many boreholes hazardous to public health. The government said it has sealed several water factories in the area through its Water Regulatory Commission for failing to meet basic sanitary and quality standards. The government therefore urged residents to halt indiscriminate drilling of boreholes and to obtain proper permits in line with state water laws. Still on the environment, the National Emergency Management Agency has issued an urgent evacuation alert to residents of Haji Gbema local government area in Imo State, warning that rapidly rising flood waters now pose what it termed a serious threat to lives, homes, and livelihoods. The warning followed a joint flood assessment carried out by NEMA and the Federal Fire Service in response to growing alarm among residents over unusual water levels across several communities in the oil-producing region. In a statement posted on its official X handle, NEMA confirmed that flood waters are advancing swiftly, encroaching on residential areas, infrastructure, and farmlands. The agency described the situation as alarming, revealing that desperate farmers have begun harvesting immature crops in a bid to salvage their produce before total inundation occurs. According to NEMA, projections for the season indicate the potential for further escalation, prompting officials to urge residents of 28 flood-prone villages, including Boru, Edekamaya, Olutu, as well as others, to safer ground. Well, electoral matters now. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Edo State has intensified preparations ahead of the August 16 local government election. This was disclosed during a media chat with journalists held at the INEC office at Shehu Lawal Hall in Benin City. VOP TV correspondent Rhoda Johnny has more.
Independent National Electoral Commission in Edo State has declared readiness for the upcoming local government election scheduled for August 16, 2025. Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Anigbem Olowa made this known during a media chat held on Wednesday, August 6th at Shehu Lawal Hall INEC office, Benin City. He explained that the election will fill a vacant seat in the National Assembly and confirmed that INEC staff have been adequately trained for the exercise.
The present governor was a senator in the Edo Central and the deputy from the Ovia constituency. So we are here today to update you on the activities so far. We've been able to conduct and monitor the primaries of the political parties and their candidates as they emerged, and we have published it as required by the law. 7 local governments are involved for this election. 5 local governments from the Edo Central, that is the senatorial district, consisting of 5 local governments. And the Ovia local government constituency have 2 local governments. So we are here to inform you that we have done a lot in preparation for this by-election. The purpose of this meeting is for us to inform you how far we have gone. No election will appear to be successful without the involvement of the people. People should be involved from the process of the election to the actual election day. I told you that election is not an event alone. Election is a process. Even when we have done our own, it does not stop there. The court has every right to say this election was not conducted according to the extant law and regulations. This mentality in our electoral system, anybody that loses election will abuse INEC. Anybody that wins, INEC is the best.
Professor Onowa assured of the Commission's commitment to a free, fair and credible election, while urging political actors and voters to adhere to electoral guidelines.
Their vote will count.
In Benin, Brother Johnny, GOP TV News.
Rhoda, thank you. Coming up next, foreign, business, sports, as well as entertainment stories. After this short break, stay with us.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Welcome back, everyone. On the foreign scene now, people in Hiroshima commemorated the 80th anniversary of the devastating attack on Wednesday, with survivors expressing concerns as nuclear fears mount globally amid unresolved military conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. For over half a century, chimes have rung out across Hiroshima every morning at exactly 8:15. The solemn ritual marks the precise moment on August 6, 1945, when the United States bomber Enola Gay dropped the world's first atomic bomb on the city, killing about 70,000 people instantly. In a one-minute silent tribute, the city remembered the wide-scale death and destruction caused by the 10,000-pound bomb, which created a huge mushroom cloud that rose to over 60,000 feet. In a speech, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said they have a duty to convey the reality of the atomic bombings not only to the people of Japan, but also to the people of the world. The blast unleashed a whirlwind of fire and force, incinerating thousands of people. Then the radioactive black rain, which fell over the city, silently poisoning countless more. Now, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to leverage the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit to visit China later this month in his first trip to his country's northern neighbor in 7 years, if confirmed. Modi will attend the annual summit as China is the bloc's current chair. However, there is still no official confirmation from New Delhi or Beijing. Modi will embark on a visit to Japan around August 29 before flying to the northern city, a Chinese city of Tianjin. He last visited China in 2018. The expected visit comes as New Delhi and Beijing have taken steps to normalize ties after tensions escalated in 2020 when deadly clashes along the disputed border in Jammu and Kashmir resulted in the deaths of 20 Indian and 4 Chinese soldiers. Well, in another development, Witkoff met Putin for around 3 hours on a last-minute mission to seek a breakthrough in the 3.5-year war that began with Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia says Putin and Witkoff hold useful talks as Trump's sanctions deadline nears. 2 days before President Donald Trump's deadline for Russia to agree peace in Ukraine or face new sanctions, United States envoy Steve Witkoff has held useful and constructive talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, a Kremlin aide said. Witkoff met Putin for about 3 hours in a last-minute mission to seek a breakthrough in the 3.5-year war that began with Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to Kremlin foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov, the two sides exchanged signals on the Ukraine issue and discussed the possibility of developing strategic cooperation between Moscow and Washington. Well, we'll take another break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, in business news, foreign capital inflows into Nigeria's banking sector rose sharply to $7.0 billion in 2024, the highest annual figure recorded since 2019. While the spike in inflows comes amid heightened recapitalization efforts by Nigerian banks following new capital requirements announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria in 2024, hot money accounts for 90% of capital importation into the country. The latest capital importation report released by the National Bureau of Statistics for the first quarter of 2025 shows that banking accounted for more than half of all capital imported into the country in the first quarter of the year, continuing a trend that began in the second half of 2023. In year-on-year terms, capital importation into the banking sector rose by 740.3% from $832.64 million in 2023 to $7.0 billion in 2024. The jump reverses a 4-year trend of declining interest in the sector, which saw inflows fall to as low as $1.46 billion in 2021 and $2.09 billion in 2022. Quarterly data for 2024 shows that the recovery gained strength toward the end of the year. Well, it's time now for sports news.
And now to some sports on the news hour with me, Jerry Arpeliohai. Head coach of the senior national team of Nigeria, Eric Charles, saw the Nigerian team lost for the first time after one defeat to Senegal in the opening game of the ongoing CHAN Championship. Both teams didn't look quite convincing in the early exchanges, and with no clear-cut chance falling to either of the teams, the first half ended in a stalemate. Nigeria resumed its second half, the better side, but still found it hard to create anything meaningful, making it very easy for the Senegalese side to contain them despite the high possession of the ball. With 15 minutes left to play in the game, a defensive mix-up involving Nigerian centre-back duo of Junior Nduka and Leonard Ngenge was made worse with goalkeeper Mustafa Lawal came charging out of his line but got nowhere near the true ball. Christian Gomes ran onto the ball and rounded Lawal before scoring what ended as the sole goal of the game and also Charles' first defeat in 6 games since taking over as coach. Maduka Okoye is set to be ineligible to play for the senior national team of Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers following a confirmation by his team that he will be out of competitive football for a period of 2 months due to a ban. Prosecutors alleged that the goalkeeper deliberately got booked late into the game owing to betting patterns from a province of Udine, where he resides, on him getting a second yellow card. He went to the court, and according to a statement by Udinese, he was excluded from any sporting fraud but given a 2-month ban for another offense totally unrelated to fixing the game. A 4-year ban would have sufficed, but the 2-month ban will begin from the first official game of the season for Udinese, which is their scheduled Coppa Italia tie against Canaresi on August 18. That means the goalkeeper will miss 6 Serie A matches and be back in action from October 18. And with Nigeria due to play South Africa and Rwanda in September, he's effectively out of both games. And that's how we wrap it up on the sport news on the News Hour with me, Jerry Arpelioy. Over now to more on the News Hour.
Well, Jerry, thank you. Entertainment news is next.
Welcome to the entertainment news. Nigerian superstar Burna Boy and Asake are the joint most nominated African artists at the MTV 2025 Video Music Awards, earning 2 nominations each. Burna Boy received nods in the Video for Good category for Hire and Best Afrobeat for Ta 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 featuring Travis Scott. Asake was nominated twice in the Best Afrobeat category, Active also featuring Travis Scott, and Get It Right with Terms. Rayman, Molly, Tems, Wizkid and Taylor earned 1 nomination each in the Best Afrobeat category. Ira Star stands out with a nomination in the MTV Push Performance of the Year category for Last Heartbreak Song. Overall, American pop icon Lady Gaga leads this year's nominations with 12, including Best Artist of the Year, Song of the Year, and Video of the Year. The MTV 2025 Video Music Awards will take place on September 7th at the USB Arena in New York, USA. The Ghanaian Economic and Organized Crime Office, in collaboration with the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Department of Justice, has seized a luxury vehicle from Ghanaian dancehall star Charles Nee Ama, popularly known as Shatta Wale. EOCO's acting executive director Raymond Aka disclosed in a statement that the seizure followed a 2023 request from the FBI and U.S. Justice Department, prompting a lawful search of Shatta Wale's residence at Trasco Valley Phase 1 in Accra. He revealed that the operation carried out by EOCO's Surveillance and Asset Recovery Unit led to the discovery and seizure of a 2019 Lamborghini Urus. Aka added that further steps are being taken by U.S. authorities to repatriate the seized car. According to U.S. authorities, the vehicle has been linked to criminal proceeds from Nana Kwabena Amwa, a convict currently serving an 86-month sentence in the United States for financial crimes. Elsewhere in entertainment, Drake's latest single, Which One, has failed to make a strong debut on the Billboard Hot 100. A collaboration with British rapper Central C, the track, the second single from Drake's upcoming album, landed at number 23, missing the top 20 entirely. The song was initially projected to debut in the top 10 but lost momentum on streaming platforms, marking Drake's lowest chart official single since 2019 Signs. Meanwhile, the album lead single, What Did I Miss, has also skipped outside the top 30 just 4 weeks after debuting at number 2. That's it for entertainment news. I remain Precious Agumano.
Well, thank you, Precious. And that wraps it up for us on News Hour. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Tinubu has directed rollout of free healthcare for low-income retirees. Also, federal government has unveiled a revised national employment policy. Credit Corps and NYSC have signed a 9 billion naira empowerment deal, and FG has obtained $25.35 million Kuwait loan. Also, JAM has set conditions for screening under 16 UTME candidates. Now, we also told you that ECOWAS has pushed for police collaboration among member states. The Appeal Court has restored EFCC's forfeiture order on Yahya Bello's properties, and on the foreign scene, survivors of Hiroshima bombing have warned of nuclear warfare 8 years after. Well, in business news, we told you that foreign capital inflows hit 5-year high in 2024. And in sports news, Super Eagles goalkeeper has been banned from September World Cup qualifiers. In the world of entertainment, Burna Boy and Shakir have bagged multiple nominations, with Lady Gaga leading the pack. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Vivian Oguchen. Thank you for watching.